This is a bit more information on my experience with Joe Dispenza and Jordan Peterson. In 2007, I came across Joe Dispenza online. I became a student of Ramtha School of Enlightenment. For about 3 or 4 years, I lived in Ireland. I attended retreats in Italy, in Brussels and in Ireland. Joe Dispenza was a teacher in the Ramto School who just left Ramto School around the time that I joined the school. I was a student there for about 3 years. Now, the point is, Ramto School really focused at that time, and still does as far as I know, focuses on manifestation, the way the brain works, biology, the way the body works, chemicals, focusing. Joe Dispenza went on to develop. That's what his career is based on. Basically, his teachings initially came from Ramtha, from that school. He was a student in the Ramtha School and then he became a teacher. Later on in recent years, what I began to question was, if there's this voice, right, that's destructive in some of us, and some people watching this, you know, that we get negative thoughts or destructive thoughts or addictive thoughts or whatever it may be. And then we also get positive thoughts or nice thoughts or things that we want to do or want to manifest. And I began over a couple of years to wonder, what's the fucking difference between this voice? Who's the nasty voice and who's the not so nasty or the nice voice? And it took me a while to learn and to realize, and to work with different teachers to realize it's all the same voice and it's all not me, it's all bullshit. So that's non-duality. That's Eckhart Tolle, Byron Katie, Adyashanti, and so on. You can go down those paths for that. Problem with Joe Dispenza, it's twofold. One is that he's using this voice, and we have all of his followers who are using this voice, which is ultimately not them, it's just programming. So you can look into that, or you might believe that, or you might not understand that yet. You might not have got to that stage on your journey yet. But even if you haven't got to that stage in your journey, what you do have to look at is, if this voice has caused, say, the breakup of my relationship, or addictive behavior, or depression, or anxiety, and now this voice wants to manifest a new car or relationship, how do I know that it's not the destructive voice that wants to manifest this thing? That's what clearly ended my identification with any of that kind of manifestation, The Secret, or any of that kind of work. As those seeds were sown, I realized there's something very wrong here. And that's what most followers of his kind of work do not see. They're not at the end of that road yet. They haven't reached that end point. The other issue with Dispenza, and I'll get to Jordan Peterson in a second. So mind is masculine energy. It's all thinking. It's nothing to do with the heart. It's nothing to do with energy. It's nothing to do with this live experience. It's philosophy. It's theory. It's understanding. And generally, the people who are attracted to the likes of Dispenza and Peterson are people who are already really heavily invested in the mind, or in many cases lost in the mind, very confused, very unhappy or stressed. And they're using Peterson and Dispenza to try to find peace. So what they're actually doing is they're going into all this activity in philosophy and theory and science and thinking and trying to control. Control, isn't that interesting? Trying to control, there's no flexibility there. There's no heart there. There's no heart opening. It's all about control. I want to manifest my life. I want to manifest more love and money. Control. My work started to go in completely the opposite direction of these people, because the clients, people who were coming to me and myself, the journey that I came on was I needed to get away from this voice, to get away from mind and information. I needed to live. I needed to see and feel and love and experience and be alive, not theorize and philosophize and try to manage and control everything. What I began to see as well is that I've had clients come to me who've given the likes of Dispenza huge amounts of money and come away more fucked up than when they went to him in the first place. I don't see Dispenza as being a particularly peaceful or happy person. I see him as someone who's lost in his own mind. A disclaimer here as well, this work is suitable for some people. I had to go through that path. I spent many years in that path. But I reached the end of the road with it and had to move on. So, I mean, if you feel fascinated by Dispenza or Peterson or anyone else, go for it. My work is not for you. That's cool. That's okay. I'm not saying that what I do or non-duality or shadow work is the only way. I'm saying that when you get complete with science and control and mind, there's a whole new world that opens up that's available. Now, Jordan Peterson. When I discovered Peterson in, I don't know, 2018, something like that, I knew immediately he did not resonate with me. I knew immediately he was a man in pain and a man in trouble. Now, this is long before his breakdown or addiction to painkillers or any of that. It was very obvious to me that this guy is suffering. Watching interviews or clips on YouTube, and I'm not dismissing his work. Again, psychology is helpful and useful for some people. Something else I need to say is that of all the clients I've had, there's one type of client that has consistently struggled with my work, and my work is just feeling. I bring people into the heart and out of the mind. That's it in a nutshell. Feel, don't believe the mind, done. That's it. That's what I teach people. But that's a heavy path. The people who have most struggled with my work are, 3 guesses, psychologists or people in that field. I've had one famous client, well-known client, author of books on TV, who just could not complete it because when they go into the heart space, they go into feeling and experiencing, they're trying to process everything because of all the qualifications and books they've read and processing and understanding. Oh, is this because of what my father said when I was 7? I don't deal with any of that. It's all information. It's not useful at all. When I discovered Peterson, I discovered at the same time I discovered David Goggins. David Goggins is a different animal, but something I loved about Goggins was he was active. He was in life. He got the fuck out there and he got involved. Now, Goggins has his trauma and problems, and he's not on the kind of path I'm on at all, but I admired his drive. And I remember seeing the comparison between Goggins and Peterson, and I knew it's a matter of time till Peterson is in trouble. And then the stories started to come out that he was on medication for depression, and I thought, this famous psychologist, if he is a psychologist, I don't know what his technical term is or qualification is, and he's on medication, but I thought he was supposed to understand all this and to be at peace with all this, and it turns out he's not. And then he turns out to get addicted to painkillers. I don't hold that against him. I think these days that's not unusual. People are given, also, I'm reading a book on the Sackler family at the moment on a different note. People are given these kinds of painkillers and they can easily get addicted to them. But we're very susceptible to addiction if we are not integrating and we're unable to feel and be present. So he was hyper susceptible to becoming addicted because he struggles to be present. He struggles to feel. Everything is information based. All masculine energy, all processing, no aliveness, no heart. Now, from what I've seen of him of late, he seems to be opening up. So more power to him. Another little disclaimer, I've watched hours upon hours of the two of these people on YouTube and all the rest of it, interviews, their own talks. So it's not a case of that I judge them and think, oh, Dispenza and Peterson are useless or whatever. I'm very familiar with both of them, very familiar with the work. And I do think Peterson, some of his work is useful for men to get people moving at a very entry level to get people on track. Other than that, if you're on a spiritual path or a deeper path, you want to close the door at some point on this information-based, philosophy-based, and ultimately it's control. What is control? It's the ego. I need to fucking manifest. I need to fucking keep my life in control. Why do we need to control? Because I fucking don't want to feel what I actually feel. I don't want to feel what's so repressed within me. Anyway. Thanks for listening to me. I hope this was helpful. It was a lot longer than I expected, and I'm curious to hear your comments.